I think one thing that Donald Trump might be counting on is the strength of the economy right now. It's certainly something he talks about a lot. It came up a couple times in the debate asking people on stage, like, how do you respond to the strong stock market, low unemployment? But you actually think the economy could be a good talking point for Democrats.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the polling, it is the one issue that he's, 12 points up, right, in approval on. I think there's a case to be made for Democrats to make the case about why this economy isn't actually working for a lot of people. I mean, you've got $1 trillion tax cut. You've had huge amounts of stock buybacks. You don't have a lot of business investment. The fact of the matter is, economic development continues to be intensely concentrated in a relatively small geographic area. That was the whole critique against the Obama economy back in 2016 when Donald Trump sort of banged on about that, about bad trade deals. There's a GM plant that closed this week 10 miles from the debate in Warren. In Lordstown, Ohio, Donald Trump, you should watch this clip. He gets up in front of Lordstown and he says to them, "This plant's not going anywhere. Don't sell your home. Don't sell your home. Don't do anything." They shut the plant down. Like, the same structural factors, and then you put on top of that some of the trade war stuff, which has really hammered a lot of farmers. I think there is a case to be made about why the Trump economy is not as good as it looks for a lot of working people, and I would like to see Democrats make that case.
And why do you think it is that it's not something they've picked up on yet?
I think you see them try to start to make it, but what ends up happening in these debates particularly is they're competing with each other, so they're focused on areas where they have areas of agreement or disagreement or attacks. I do think that Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren and Joe Biden to some extent, when Biden talked about the auto rescue tonight, when he was asked the question, how are you going to win Michigan, he talked about the auto rescue, which is a good thing to do because the auto rescue was an amazingly important, effective piece of policy intervention that saved tens of thousands of jobs across the greater Midwest.
Climate change came up tonight as well. This is an issue you're going to do a special on.
Yeah, we're doing a 2-day forum with as many candidates as we can get.
And I imagine preparing for that must be difficult in that the breadth of things you have to talk about when you're talking about the climate is so vast.
It is. It's a hard thing to sort of zero in on. It's also hard to sort of move between the specialized vocabulary of people that are in the world of climate policy or climate activism and what the broader public knows. So I think it takes a lot of work to get really good conversations going on that. A lot of times also politicians just don't know that much about it, frankly. Like they know the briefing book. I mean, Jay Inslee is an exception. I did a podcast with him, Why Is This Happening, where we talked for an hour about this stuff. This is what he's running on. But a lot of them, they can't get too far out past their briefing book on it. That's not the case in something like, for instance, criminal justice reform, immigration, or healthcare. All are issues I feel that the majority of candidates have more facility with than at this point they do climate policy.
And do you think that part of that, too, is just the massiveness of the undertaking to fix where the climate is heading?
Did you hear the Andrew Yang answer tonight? Andrew Yang was asked about climate, and he said, well, we're probably not going to fix it. You're going to need to move your family to higher ground. So we're going to give you $1,000 a month. That's bleak, buddy.
That was real bleak, yeah. He had some nice moments tonight, but that was a tough one.
But, it was bleak. I don't think $1,000 a month is going to do it if you need to go to higher ground. But what I did think about that is that it did puncture a little bit of the kind of like, we can do it. Like, being clear-eyed about what we're up against right now is really important. And it's very hard to do that and balance that with the kind of hopefulness that is necessary to kind of motivate people and sort of put together a coalition you need.
You've never moderated a debate. You would like to. It seems to be an impossible undertaking.
It is an impossible job that I would love to have.
Yeah.
I mean, it is impossible. I know, you watch a debate and you watch people on Twitter or you talk to family members who are very critical of how the debate is managed, which just goes with the territory. But
of course.
With that many people on stage, you got 10 people on stage, you're trying to be fair in distributing talking time. Politicians talk long. It's hard to get fruitful exchanges. It's hard to cut people off. And then when things go long, like I saw people complaining about how long the CNN debate went, but it's like, well, it's either going to go long or they're going to cut them off more, right?
Yeah.
I mean, or you do fewer topics. If you do fewer topics, then people say, oh, you didn't get this topic, this topic, this topic. So a huge part of the challenge, particularly at this point in the cycle, is just managing that many people on stage. You've got a choir's worth of people that you got to deal with. I think later on, if you got 4 or 5 people, you can get somewhere.
And that'll happen one day, right? It'll get down to 4 or 5?
Yes, I think so.
Okay, good.
What's really interesting to me is what's the over-under of the number of people still in it by February 6th or whenever the Iowa caucuses happen?
Yeah, 8.
8. Yeah, I think somewhere around 10 probably is probably the answer.
We'll come back then. Let's talk about it. Thanks so much for coming
let's
here.
do.
Middle of the night. Chris Hayes, everybody.